podcast stupid. Now it's podcast stupid. Now it's podcast stupid.
Happy Wednesday evening, Funsters. Tudo Dan here with the great LawTube Sean, aka potentially criminal, the king of LawTube, the man that took
no.
The man that took Rekieta's crown.
That cursed crown, I don't want it.
Sean, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, I appreciate it. And thanks for having me here.
Yeah, so been an interesting day, week, month. A lot of stuff going on in the lawsuit internet trauma world.
Yeah, I guess even for Stuttering John, there was stuff today. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I heard about it. So
I have some stuff we could talk about today. I guess they are looking to, I don't know, either do a continuance or push it off.
Yeah, which I don't think that's going to work.
No, yeah, his lawyers are very interesting. He seems to have a lot of excuses, but yeah, we'll definitely get in all that. We'll talk. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the steel toe Rekieta, Patrick Melton, Dr. Steve situation.
Yeah.
If you've been following that.
Oh, I've been following that, and it's yeah, that's got a lot there to talk about as well. A lot to unpack there.
So maybe I'll just start with the question for you. So I know you've kind of ensconced yourself a little bit, or maybe not ensconced isn't the right word, but you're familiar with the players of the, as we like to call air quotes, the Dabbleverse, which are a lot of these.
I dabble a little bit in that.
You dabble a little, and Kiwi Farms has the crossover, and obviously Rekieta. Anytime Rekieta gets involved, then it's going to bring in a lot of different people.
Yeah.
I know Ethan Ralph has been a guy too.
Yes, which has been interesting.
So what are your thoughts about these lawsuits or lawsuits that are going on? Is there any validity to any of this, or is it all just complete ridiculousness?
You mean with Stuttering John's, for like, I guess?
Well, I guess we can start with Stuttering John, and then and maybe talk about the HROs too.
Sure,
let's start with Stuttering John.
I mean, with Stuttering John's, like, yes, he has a right to his name, image, and likeness, and not be used for publicity. But this case isn't that. This is really, I mean, yeah, he got A-logged, and Carl and Shuli A-logged the fuck out of him, and he's all upset about it. Like, okay, that's not the grounds to file a lawsuit. All this stuff that he's alleging, like, oh, they're using my name and my image, to, like, they really aren't, though. Like, his, your fat stupid head's on the thing, and they put your name on there, like, we're gonna make fun of this guy. Like, we all knew what was gonna happen there, and they could just say it too. But it's like, this is not what the name, image, and likeness law is meant to stop. I mean, at the end of the day, even though satire, parody, and First Amendment defenses are not explicitly listed in the statute, they're always there in the Constitution, über alles. So regardless of what the statute says, they still have First Amendment protections. And really, at the end of the day, yeah, I get it. It's weird. They drugged those couch cushions like 2,000 miles. And sure, is that really fucking weird? Sure. And if you happen to go to DabbleCon and you're like, oh, I went to the thing where he made fun of a guy, and the crowning achievement was like putting his couch cushions on an exhibit, the people you work with will be like, you guys are fucking nutters. But that's okay. You're allowed to be a nutter. You're allowed to be a goober. You just can't sue them for this. And Stuttering John is, I know people have claimed that Vince, the lawyer guy, has allegedly set John up with this, but even if he didn't, a big trait with lolcows is they tend to retain lolcow lawyers themselves.
Yeah.
And that's always a problem in the law. Like, you don't want to get a lawyer who's like you. Because if you get a lawyer, you're like, oh man, this is like my bro. We're going to hang out together. He's just like me. It's like, no, there needs to be a disconnect from you. There needs to be somebody you could push back, somebody who sees things differently. And these guys that John hired are a couple of yahoos. And you're seeing in how the case is progressed. You know, they filed a lawsuit, and then immediately before serving it, they had to amend it immediately. So
Yeah.
normally you get your one time around to amend your case, and they did it within 5 days of filing their case because they fucked up somewhere. I forget where. So then after that, they need to ask for permission to amend every time. And then they have all these filings. And this is where I don't know if the other people have mentioned this, but one of the biggest things that's going to happen for John and his attorneys is those string of affidavits where there's like 4 of them and they're literally word for word the same thing.
Yeah.
By all those different people.
Look.
So who did that? Did these people actually sign these? Who prepared these affidavits? The attorneys that, you know, their name's not on them, but they've offered them and filed them. There's a lot of people who are going to have to answer for what's going on there. And I mean, there's that, the fact these attorneys kind of went radio silent. And it sounds like, as I said before, for Stuttering John, he's got an issue about Mr. Green trying to retain him as a witness. You know,
Yep.
Lincoln lawyer. That's the thing. And yeah, these attorneys, and this is where I don't know. Somebody sent me a clip of Vince saying I was wrong. It's like, no, I agreed with him. They can't just quit. Like, but that's what they've done. They have to go to the court and say, Judge, can I please leave? It doesn't matter what the client's done, even if it's a mandatory withdrawal situation. You can't just quit. You have to tell the court, by the way, Judge, I need to leave. Here's my reason. And then the judge says, okay, yes, you do, or no, you don't. These guys are going to have to face the music, these attorneys, because they've gummed up this case.
Are they contingency guys, like the ambulance chaser types, or how would you describe them from a legal standpoint?
It all depends. I mean, sometimes there's, even with the contingency guys, they're going to want some money up front sometimes. Although I can't imagine they looked at, unless John told them all kinds of retarded nonsense of like, Carl makes millions upon millions and Shuli has millions and they're going out whale hunting. I don't think that's the case. I'm sure these guys looked into it and they told John, we're going to need money up front. John probably scraped up a little cash up front, but now you see he's got a GoFundMe going where he's like, right-wing bullies are attacking me.
That was my idea, by the way, Sean.
Just like right-wing bullies. That's so like, dude, it's like Jeremy Hambley. I'm under attack. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Also, though, he's getting bullied. That's going to be a problem for John because that's John making a statement in public now. Wait, I thought this was about your name, image, and likeness. Now it's about people bullying you and A-logging you? Why would you say that? That's a wholly different thing than what you're claiming. So
and that's a good question. What if he could start again, start from scratch? Yeah. Where is the merit that he would have a lawsuit, if at all a lawsuit? Like if he focused on one area, where do you think he would have a legit case?
Nowhere.
Being
an A-log is not illegal. You know, they hurt my feelings. Like, okay.
And he's a public figure, which makes it even harder, right?
But even then, even if he wasn't a public figure, nothing's been defamatory. You know, the phone calls have been recorded, but he's like, oh, I was in on it all along. Okay, well, there goes any arguments you may have had depending on your states. But, you know, from what I understand, New York's a one-party state. Like, he's got nothing. It's just, as Ethan Ralph says, suffer. Like, you're gonna have to suffer. That's all you can do. Like, they A-logged you. I'm like, oh well, yeah. Like, what are you gonna do about it?
Is there any technicality or anything you think that you could get these guys on, or some part of it, some thread that he and his lawyers can stick to, or is it really just playing out the string at this point?
I mean, this is going to end in dismissal at some point. I just don't know when. Like, are they going to fuck it up and default right off the bat in this situation? I don't think so. I bet we probably get to discovery. And then from there, they're just going to blow the doors off Stuttering John, and that's going to be it. So and that's where it's like a lot of surviving summary judgment is the hardest thing in the world. Could I see John lose it? Sure, but could he also win it? Yeah, I mean that's especially this is a lawsuit, so it's going to survive for a while probably anyway. There's probably going to be some goofy depositions, like seeing Stuttering John in a deposition. That'll probably be fucking hilarious because that's going to be out there. Maybe even that gets videotaped. That'll be funnier. But no, he's not going to win. This is on the slow ride to hell at this point.
Now, I heard slap come into the conversation.
Yeah.
Is there a slap component? Are they going to get fees back for this?
Oh, they should. They should. This is a strategic lawsuit against public participation. John doesn't like what they're saying. He doesn't like what they're saying, and he's trying to shut them up. And yeah, he's going to owe them, but I mean, what's he going to pay him with? I mean, like the super chats, YouTube takes 30% off the top, and then Carl and Shuley get that 70% at this rate. So,
well, I'm familiar with the Tomlinson lawsuit.
I mean,
so
that's the thing there. I know. Like, there's not a whole lot to say there. Like, I just don't. They're going to get paid, and it's just the problem for Carl and Shuley is they're going to have to get blood from a stone. So
then okay, so you get the slap. What kind of judgment do you think that would come out? Would it be like, are we talking like 6 figures on that?
I don't know how much their attorney's fees have been so far, but the longer this goes on, the more it could come. So I mean, like, I bet they're probably. I mean, like, it wouldn't surprise me if their bill's like 25, 30 G's into this already. I mean, could this go even higher? Sure. I mean, the thing is, there have been so many motions filed. I'm thinking about this now. It's probably actually even more. Like, could it be 40, 50 G's? Like, maybe. I mean, they got some New York City lawyers, so I'm sure he's charging a higher rate than, a guy in Rochester. So on that. And then, yeah, there's this crap here where the attorney's like, Your Honor, my tummy hurts. Can I please come back another day? It's like, part of the issue for this case is these guys have been radio silent. Nobody's been able to get a hold of them. And just like Nick and Melton, the time to do a motion to continue, yeah, there's some times where the week before, okay, fine. But it's, if you've known
wait
about all
the
these
last
things,
minute and it looks bad, right?
Doing it a week, it's like the last minute at this point.
So they're trying to push it. Is it an unreasonable ask in this day and age to have a Zoom or a Teams, conference like this, or does this have to be in person?
I mean, it's not abnormal to ask for it in the post-COVID world, but in this situation where the judge is sitting here saying, one party's come to the judge saying, Your Honor, we don't know what's going on. We think this guy's attorneys have abandoned him, and we can't get a hold of him. And it sounds like in this situation, from what I've heard, Danny Savalos, the attorney for Carl and Shuley, said, Your Honor, nobody's been able to get a hold of him. Even the court couldn't get a hold of him. That's a big deal. Courts get really concerned when they don't hear from you, and that's why they're doing this in person. Like, everybody needs to show up. Carl's going to be there. Shuley's going to be there. John better be there. I could see the judge defaulting it at that point.
Oh, so Sean, if he does a no-show, if John's not there, then you just throw this whole sucker out?
It could. I mean, if I'm Carl's attorney, I'm doing that. Your Honor, motion for default at this point. If these guys aren't showing up and aren't taking this seriously, this idea they're going to file a lawsuit and then fuck around with it, yeah. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you go for the kill at that point, and you probably, I don't know about this judge, but yeah, there's a chance you get it. So you definitely go for it. And then certainly if John doesn't show up, he could also get held in contempt, and he could be, forced to show cause, and then he still has to show up. So John just showing up doesn't necessarily help him. He could still be forced to show up under contempt, but also the judge might say, I'm not going to hold you in contempt. Your lawsuit's dismissed with prejudice, and therefore it's done. Gone forever. He can't ever sue on this issue again. And yeah. So it's not clear what's going to happen there. But yeah, everybody has to be there because the one side's gone radio silent up until now, where they're asking for more time. And it's like, that's not the impression you want to leave with the court. The first time they ever hear from you is like, oh, judge, can I ask you for a favor? after you've basically, they don't know if you guys are quit or you're fucking off or whatever it is you're doing. It's not how you want to come around the first time to a court.
Now, there's another. So we showed you the continuance or whatever that ask was. There was also this rebuttal, I guess, from I guess that Savalos, right? Danny Savalos, if I'm not mistaken. Now, once again, I'm not a lawyer. I always preface that, although I do love anal. No, I'm not a lawyer, but when I read this, and I've seen, and because of my compulsion to read legal documents, because I'm just addicted to some of these lolcow things, this one comes off to me a little bit. And tell me if I'm wrong on this. It comes off a little bit kind of like artistic, like it's almost like they're, and I'll get to why I'm saying that. They start referencing YouTube videos in this response, and we got Quadfather, Will Heron, and JMO. Is this typical on something like this where you start referencing I'm joking about dabble, but like YouTube videos? Like, are we at a point now in time where YouTube videos are starting to become a part of, like, an integral part of a motion or a response like this?
Yes. Well, especially with YouTube personalities, because a lot of YouTube personalities suffer from a problem of not shutting the fuck up about their case. So if information's leaking out there, that's an admission. That's an admission by a party opponent. Clip that shit out. Boop. Here you go. Here's what he said. So no, that's not uncommon at all. And from, I haven't had a chance to read this whole thing here, but this is well put together from what I understand. And Carl and Shuli's attorney has been very good. I don't know all the state law specifically, but he's very good in his writing style. He's very well, you can tell he's knowledgeable about the case. He's very well researched. He's getting into it. Certainly it helps that Carl and Shuli are probably giving a lot of information, but that's okay. But this seems like this was prepared. They anticipated this in case it happened, and they had this motion ready to go and fired it out. And why not use these things? In the previous one where they said, Your Honor, we haven't heard from the lawyers, they cited Stuttering John saying, like, I haven't talked to my attorneys. I think they're gone. I think they quit. Why not use those things? Because you're not just saying, oh, Judge, we think we heard this. No, literally, the guy said it right there. And what better way to do it? What better way to do it than have a link?
Is there any downside to and I know you haven't read this, but I did sort of peruse it a little bit. It's just, to me, because I guess maybe I'm used to reading a lot of these legal documents, and they tend to be very dry, very direct. And obviously this case is anything but dry, right? I mean, it's just silliness, right? Internet stuff. But there's just a lot of how do I put it? It's like, I'll just even read it. Why is defense counsel writing a multi-page letter to the court objecting to a request for adjournment? It's a fair question. I've never done this before. It almost looks like in some of the way this is written, it almost looks like it's very snarky. Yeah. It's very kind of, you can almost hear the guy talking. Like, it's almost like he's reciting this, and it's like almost like he wrote it for a movie. Like, he wants to just say this in court. Yeah. Is there any detriment to write? Does a judge look at this and say, like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? You're not Al Pacino. We don't need a fucking, crazy document here.
Sometimes, yes. I mean, it all depends on your audience. I would presume that Carl and Shuli's attorney, reached out to that, because he practiced in New York City. Rochester's like 5 hours away on the other end of the state. I'm sure he reached out to people he knew in that area and said, hey, I've got this judge. If I'm in front of him, what's a good thing to do? How do I, because you got to work your crowd and know your audience. And if you can get away, some judges don't like any of this. Some judges appreciate a little bit of snarkiness, because really just reciting case law gets dry after a while. But in this situation, you get a little bit of license to be a little persnickety and to punch back and go after people. No, I think it's fine. And it's not unprofessional at all. And, I think he's doing this to maximize the impact it has, and really just drive the point home that the plaintiffs are really, they're turds in this one. So really just driving it home.
Yeah. And that's the only, like, to me, when I read this, the thing that if I'm taking John's side, I'm trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Like if I'm a Rochester judge, I might read this, and maybe this goes over well in the Southern District of New York City, but like to me, it just feels very, I got the Armani suit, and I can kind of talk however I want, and it just feels very performative to me.
I mean, what I would like I said, I would tell you, I would presume, just given the way their attorneys acted so far, he's probably checked out ahead of time. How do you act in front of this guy? Okay. Will this guy appreciate this? Does he appreciate a little bit? I mean, because depending where you're at, I mean, like there's a famous case out of the Southern District where a federal judge, wrote, like as Biggie said, the more money we come across, the more if attorneys and courts can be goofy at times, they will take advantage of it. And if this is a goofy lawsuit and there's goofy stuff going on, yeah, he's probably like, I'm just going to take advantage of it. And that's going to be, even if the judge has a problem there, let's say he completely guessed wrong. He's way ahead of the curve because he's been showing up. He's ready to go. He stays in contact with the court. Like he's already way far ahead of the curve, where John's attorneys are like, who the fuck knows? They don't talk. And now they're asking for continuances, and they haven't done anything to get this case ready. Normally, as the plaintiffs, you like it's time to go. Like, we want to prosecute this case. We want to see it through. They haven't done shit. Well, if you're the guy there trying to move the case along, courts appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I can see that. The responsiveness probably goes a long way versus the guy who you can't get on the phone or you can't get him to respond to stuff. So
yes,
that makes sense. Not that you would ever be in the place to be giving legal advice to Mr. John Melendez, but other than, of course, just pulling the plug and just trying to find an exit strategy.
Cut your losses.
Is it a cut your losses? I mean, cut bait and just
lose now or lose bigger. It's only going to get worse. The court costs are only going to climb. They're only going to get more and more and more. You're not going to win this fight. It's not even a 1% chance. You are going to face total annihilation. Like, there's no way out. There's no way out. This is Thermopylae. There's no way out of this. This is a one-way ride. Like, just stop now and make it easier on yourself. The more you fight, the worse it's going to get.
JJG says, the Duke didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, he didn't hear no bell. Well, that's...
Yeah, well, I 1% does not sound good. I mean, you're saying there's a chance. So.
No, I'm not even saying there's 1%. Like, he can survive for a while in this, sure, and that's all possible. But at the end of the day, he does not win a dime out of this. And even let's just say, God forbid, he went in front of a jury and they all had strokes in the jury room. They all accidentally they're all standing there and they go, and they push over and they vote on the liable. They fine for him. He gets like $1. Like, he really doesn't have any damages. But that's not going to happen. That's literally not going to happen.
So this is on the scale of the worst thought out lawsuit that you've ever seen to the best one. How close? It's
not
is
the worst, but it's definitely a lawsuit.
Yeah. I
mean, for John, from what I understand about some of his other cases, this is kind of par for the course. So,
okay. We got some super chats, so maybe we'll go through and read those, and then I want to talk a little bit about your old friend Nick Rekieta and that whole situation.
Okay.
Radcon Hazard for $2. Thank you, Radcon Hazard. Dan, yes, that's my name. Thank you, thank you, Radcon Hazard. BobTube TV for $2. Is that Australian? Aussie?
Yes.
Aussie bucks.
Yes, $1.
Sean, please don't join the Diddleverse. Sean, are you joining? Are you in the Dabbleverse? Are you joining?
No.
You don't want an entry point. You don't want to come in.
If I join, I'll wash my mouth out with my Beretta. So no, I won't do that.
Of all the characters in the Diddleverse, the Dabbleverse,
yes.
who would you find yourself most sympathetic or aligned with? Like, who is there anyone that you like or that you think is they're not so bad?
No, because almost all of them are upset with me because I don't think Aaron Imhol worse than the, commandant of Auschwitz, because I don't subscribe to that theory. They all hate me. So it's like, well, oh, well.
All right. Well, we'll get your thoughts on Aaron here in
Yeah.
a second. David Sarah for 2. Thank you, David Sarah. Good job, Dan. Potentially criminal is great. Yes, I know Sean is an internet law tube sensation. Kiwi Farms. And how long have you been on Kiwi Farms, Sean? How long have you been into the Kiwi Farms?
I've been there for a long time. I lurked, and then a couple of years ago, I finally got I had an account, and I had like a burner account, and then after a while, I made like the account I use for this. So,
who are your favorite lolcow Kiwi Farms characters to follow? Like who are the ones that you're always kind of checking in to see what's new with?
Well, Jeremy Hambley's always a fun one. And then Ethan Klein, what he's doing with all the Hassan Piker bitches, how he's going after all those people is hilarious. Those are like the 2 biggest ones, really, right now.
What do you think of Ethan Ralph and with Scarlet? Have you been following these Scarlet?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about all that?
I think. Well, I wish him the best. Certainly. I think Ethan Ralph has met his match. I think, he found somebody, I think, that matches his intensity and energy. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for him, but for us, it's going to be, amazing content.
Yeah, they're like Bonnie and Clyde out there on the road.
Pretty much.
All kinds of mischief.
Pretty much.
Permaseal Finishing 127349999. Thank you, Permaseal. I came from Sean's world, LawTube. Sean, Dan is a piece of shit, but he's doing his best work now with Stuttering John. John is just lapping up Dan's compliments. John needs a friend, man, and I'm here for it. I'm here. In another life, I think I was a lawyer. Like I was a defense lawyer in another life. I like to play the other side of things.
Yeah.
Help the people that need help. So yeah, I am a piece of shit though.
I was gonna say part of helping people as an attorney is saying you have no options. Like, just sorry, nothing you can do.
So maybe if I truly am John's friend, maybe I need to tell him to start thinking about.
I mean, that's what I would say. Like, yeah, pull the handles, eject on this one.
Palmyra Media, member for 24 months.
Nice.
Thank you, Palmyra Media. You are a good egg. Permaseal Finishing again, $9.99. Dan, did you know Sean got his law tube start under Rekieta? Back when Rekieta was the quote student body president. Help me, Sean. I've fallen into this shit first and cannot get out. What happened with when did Rekieta? Like, how did Rekieta? I mean, obviously the drugs, but
yeah.
Like, when did you know that Rekieta was kind of going in the wrong direction? When was the time? When was the inflection point for you with Rekieta?
I mean, ultimately, when he had his he started yelling, like when he had the famous thing where he's like yelling at me because he can't yell at the farm because he couldn't yell at Josh Moon from the farm.
Oh yes.
Like I'm like, okay, well, like like I said, I don't hold it against him, but I'm like, okay, this guy's clearly gone. I mean, like that's it. We're kind of like definitely past that point. So,
yeah,
like that's the clear point for me.
I still can't believe that dumb 9-year-old kid stealing all his cocaine. Where does that 9-year-old get off? Like, come on, don't be stealing dad's drug stash. Come on.
It's now a either the cop rubbed their hair, the tests are wrong. He also said, well, for black people, hair tests don't work, and I'm like, are your kids black? Well, so I don't know. There's a bunch of different answers for it. We've been told now, and I don't know. I don't know which one's the answer at this point.
Did you see he brought our wife to Vegas with him? She's back out and he's got her out and out in public. I
mean,
I'm glad they worked it out. I'm happy for him. Maybe and
the thing is, I'll say this: I still want the best for him. I still I want the best for him and his family. It's just, I don't think what he's doing right now is the best for himself or his family. But yeah, certainly. I'd love to see him turn it around. This ain't it.
Is there any way he could make up with you, or is it that ship sailed? Are you?
I mean, like I said, I still would love to see him, succeed and get his life all turned around and, all that. But it's like, I mean, I wish him well, but that's it. I'm not gonna, no, not at this point.
All right, perma seal again. $4.99 Thursday note, Sean. Thursday note, Sean is the best, Sean. Tell him, Sean.
Well, Thursday night is the best night because that's when I do my weekly show. So,
What are
9:30
the
Eastern.
what 9:30 Eastern?
Yeah.
What are the topics this week? What are you focused on for this week's
There's
show?
a bunch of stuff going on. Like Johnny Somali got sentenced to prison in Korea, which is hilarious. It's not
That clown is still out harassing.
No, he got sent to
people?
prison. He got sent to prison.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. After being stuck in Korea for a year. One of the other things is the Fifth Circuit is allowing people to distill alcohol, privately. That's actually kind of a big deal if you live in Texas, Louisiana, or Mississippi. You might be able to run legally now you can run a still. I mean, you don't have to worry about shooting revenuers. Just in the Fifth Circuit. Smith and Wesson, one of their kind of more dangerous lawsuits they were facing, just crashed and burned and is completely gone. And then a judge in Seattle got in trouble because he faked a parking pass, and now he's probably going to get disbarred for it, just because he didn't want to pay a couple bucks in parking. And what's the other thing here? I don't know. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene is now trying to get people to commit tax fraud, and it's like, it's not a good idea.
How is she doing that? She's saying don't file your taxes?
Well, she's saying you join me at this Freedom Law University thing, and we'll show you the secrets about not paying. It's that sovereign citizen shit of like, you really don't have to pay your taxes. It's like
there's no law that says you'd have to pay taxes.
Yeah,
I heard some clown on YouTube or Twitter saying that. I'm like, no, I think I'll do TurboTax.
The guys who come with guns to your house and are willing to kill you over it disagree. Now that said, though, not pay your taxes based, like ultimately, like great. It's not like the government needs your money. They print it anyway if they don't have enough.
Yeah, if you want to do like a Ruby Ridge thing, or Waco and compound and not pay your taxes, okay, God bless you, you're based, but that ain't my life.
Yeah, it's not mine either. So,
all right, Nana Feeder for $5. Sean, how accurate was Rekieta's daughter's coke test? Why wouldn't he file a motion to retest her?
I mean, here's the problem. We would like to know. I mean, he says we couldn't do X, Y, and Z. We would know the whole story, but somebody also then decided we needed to close off the court case to the world. So we don't actually know. I don't know. I don't know why things weren't happening, why things didn't happen the way they did or how they did. I don't know, but I will just say, imagine my shock of being a lawyer now for 12 years and dealing with hundreds and hundreds of children's services cases over that time where, wow, mom and dad are complete junkies and one of the kids gets into the drugs and has a bad day. You're like, shocker. Like, that literally happens all the time. So, who knows how it got into her system, but it did.
Rekieta's putting on a pretty good face these days, but like, I mean, how does he still have? They still have the kids and everything. Were they able to get through that? Do we even know that?
I mean, they got the kids back, but this is where like Nick's like, we got him back in record time. But based on the way Nick alluded to other things later on, that children's services had still come out and checked up on them. That means they were in like some sort of protective supervision situation and setting where like the court's like, okay, you can have them back, but the agency has the ability to just go zoink and yank them back if they need to in an emergency. So, and I mean, the ultimate way he could prove all this if he got him back in record time is, a stamped journal entry saying, hey, it's all done. But, I'm just a lawyer. What do I know? Like, that's how you can prove things are over. It's like, a judgment entry saying this case is hereby dismissed, bop, 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 done. And, he certainly has access to those given the fact it's his family's case. So.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe their parents come in and there's like a conservatorship or some wacky thing, and you get to see the kids, but
no, I don't think there's anything like that because that they wouldn't have. I mean, yes, the biggest things like reunifying the family. What do generally families, people in these situations, they have problems like no jobs, housing instability, because they're couch surfing or housing instability gone. Jobs.
Other
Well,
than
they've
not
got
paying
a
the
lot-
taxes on that one, the side chick house there. Or
yeah,
whatever
but that's not really, that doesn't affect the kids ultimately.
okay. Yep.
Well, they didn't pay the mortgage on the big house, man, the massive house. They had to sell the little house to pay for the mortgage on the big house and pay that off. So, but like they don't have housing stability. They've got, apparently they were finally able to convince Children's Services and the Guardian about how drugs got into the home in the first place, and they promised not to do it again and prevent that from happening. All those things that generally get addressed. They went through drug and alcohol treatment. They probably did a couple different things, complying with the safety plan or whatever they call it in Minnesota. So, yeah, they were ahead of the curve on a lot of things because usually people are like, mom and dad need to get clean because they're doing heroin all the time. And they relapse in the middle of it. And mom and dad don't have phones, and their phones are always getting shut off. And they don't have a house, and they won't get a house. And, especially places like where they live. Think about trying to find a house for a couple of kids in rural Minnesota or rural Ohio or rural anywhere. Holy shit, that's like trying to find a unicorn. All those things generally don't happen. So, yeah, he got him back fast, but it's because he already had a house and a bunch of things already going in his favor. It wasn't because he's an all-star and he speed ran it. He already started out better off than most people in that situation.
Did you see any of the video of him today? Maybe you did because I saw you watching MLC or some show. Did you see the video of him today, all gussied up with that suit and the hair all spiked up? And
I mean, I'll say, like, I wear colorful shirts and ties, so I'm not going to sit here and shit on him for that. But he wants to, like, I don't know, he's hip and cool and he's a fun guy. I don't know. I mean, like,
he's a cool
I'm not
guy,
going to make fun of him for that because, like, it's a shirt and tie. So,
yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more. Nick and Fort Wayne gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Nicholas.
Nice.
Palmyra Media. Sean is a Kiwi Farms super sandwich baby. Dan, stop trying to grab some of that Clyde coinage. Who is Clyde? I've seen a lot
Clyde's
of people.
my dog.
Clyde.
I don't know if he's going to come in.
Oh,
here,
okay.
My dog.
Okay,
he's the dog I've always got.
I seen the dog before. I didn't really know his name was
that's
Clyde.
So.
Hi, Clyde. Thanks for joining us, Clyde.
He's a good boy.
And then lastly, door dashing deadbeat dad. Great alliteration. $1.99. This guy makes Phil Elmore look svelte.
I'm a big fat guy and I eat sandwiches. Yes, Nick is right about that.
And I can attest. I saw Sean eating a sandwich right before we were going live. So yeah, Sean got a quick sandwich bite in beforehand. And hey, no disrespect to the sandwich game. Love it.
I did.
So Aaron Imhol, Melton, Rekieta. Give me maybe just Reader's Digest really quickly what you know about that and kind of your overall thoughts on that whole situation.
Well, it's about 2 gay men in Minnesota who can't quit each other. Ultimately, Nick can't quit Aaron. I'm sure, Nick says, like, Aaron ate my goo. I'm sure they ate each other's goo. I'm sure they longingly looked at each other. It probably started off as like an awkward look over at each other when they were both naked, bawling each other's wives out. Maybe they ended up sitting in the hot tub and bumping into each other. But yeah, they're basically 2 gay guys that can't quit each other.
Sean, have you ever been in a position where you could have been having sex with a woman with another guy at the same time, like the devil's threesome? Have you ever found yourself in that situation?
No.
I can say there was one time in college where it could have happened. It was a very awkward moment in my fraternity house, and what I did was I politely exited stage left and let my friend do that. I'm like, that's not an area that I want to go to.
What fraternity were you in college?
Fraternity was Delta Sigma Phi.
Oh, okay. No, I was in Phi Delta Theta. So.
Phi Delta. Okay, so yeah, another Greek letters, but
I'm glad you weren't like Beta Theta Pi because I'd have been like, oh no.
Yeah, I wasn't in like some douchebag fraternity or anything.
Okay, there you go.
But anyway, the point being is, it's if you can do it with another guy. Not that that's gay, but it's just, I don't know. It takes another level. But then to eat another guy's goo, then you're. I mean, there's definitely some lover stuff going on here.
I mean, and they just say that, and Nick's got, can't stop talking about another man's cock, and it's like, that's a little weird. Like, okay, we get it. You want to make fun of him, and Like he's got a small penis. Like, okay, great. I don't need you to tell me about every vein on it. Like, did you know it kind of like to the right, like 2 degrees? No, but okay, great. Like, we were good. He's got a small wiener. Fine. But it's just going and going and going. And now he's got all of Aaron's wedding pictures he's been saving forever. And he's
really?
dropping those out. It's like, man, that shit's not healthy. You look like an upset girlfriend at that point.
Yeah, Nick,
I don't get it.
The level of degeneracy that Nick puts himself in with the hedonism stuff and then just talking about this relationship, like you would, if I was him, I would probably want to like distance myself and not think about it and not bring it up, but he just can't let it go. It's a very bizarre thing.
And like I said, that's why I hope he gets into a better place in life. Because dwelling on the fact of like when Kiki got him all torqued off and we were in a very serious and loving, like, dude, that was some hoe you were banging. Like, I really miss her and I'm so like, what? No, man, live your life with your family. But, like I said, I want what's best for him. I want to see him do well. I just, this ain't it. This ain't it.
One thing that was interesting with this case that I wanted to ask you about is, it seems, if I'm not mistaken, Nick and Patrick Melton are sharing the same lawyer. Am I correct on that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that common? Is that something is that a good practice to have?
At times it can be okay. The biggest issue is if, for example, if you represent, like usually where this conflict of interest issue comes in and they bring it up to you in law school is you represent a husband and wife. And, they come to you saying, oh, we don't want to, dissolution to our marriage. And then one side starts telling you something, a secret the other side doesn't know. Well, now you have loyalties. You have loyalties to your client that you can't hide information from your client.
So it's on like an individual level. You have like the lawyer.
Yes, you have a loyalty to each client you have. So like Nick's attorney and Melton's attorney has a duty of confidentiality and a duty of loyalty to each of them. And if at any point they both start pointing their fingers, like, they're going to get their hearing in June. And, Nick's like, I got my hearing. It's like, yeah, but what are you going to do with it? Because just going in there saying, Aaron's a faggot and he's got a little dick. Judge Fed's going to be like, okay. It's not going to help. It's not going to help.
Does that hurt Melton if like Nick is an unstable witness or unstable person in the suit? Does that impact Melton, or is he like his own thing?
How much do you trust Nick not to fuck you over? Or just he gets all fired up and starts running off at the mouth about something. Everything he says could be applied to Melton's case.
Okay.
So yeah, if I was Melton and like Nick's like, oh, my attorneys aren't talking. And that's the funny thing. Nick has said repeatedly, these attorneys fucking suck. They didn't do what I wanted. He's bitched about how they handled the criminal case, yet he's using them still now. And he says they don't talk to him. They do whatever the fuck they want. They don't tell him when they don't consult with him. Why, Melton needs to find his own fucking lawyer fast. Because if these guys are shit in the bed like that, you don't want them there. And I wouldn't rely on Nick at this point.
What are the implications if they lose? Like, where does this go?
Well, the HRO stays in effect.
And they can never talk about.
Oh, well, I don't know what it's going to say. And this is where all the dabblers get mad. But when you keep on like a law, like when, basically, there's an HRO in place and you're like, I'll show you fucking harassment and go to your fucking TardCon in Las Vegas and do all your retarded shit of like, we're going to make fun of Aaron all night. What do you expect the judge to do with that? All the stuff they did, like when this judge finally hears about Patrick Melton talking about Aaron's daughter's box,
that's not good. Yeah.
It's comedy. Okay. You know what though? To a judge in fucking Minnesota, that's not comedy. To the average person walking down the street, they're going to hope you get hit by a fucking car. Like, it's comedy. Okay, great. For you it is. But, go tell those jokes at your job and you're going to explain to the HR lady, you don't appreciate talk radio and comedy. It's like, it's not going to work.
These
It's not gonna
God-fearing
work.
Midwest people, and you're talking about a
You go to
guy's
a lot of places. You go to a lot of places. You know, I don't care where you go. Start talking
talking about
about
an
your
underage
coworker's
kid.
your coworker's 8-year-old daughter's pussy. Like, just let me know how that goes.
Yeah, not good at all.
I mean, and you know what? It might be a joke, but you know the neat thing is, like, if nobody else thinks it's a joke or thinks it's funny, oh, there you go, man. Like, you know, and then like when you have to explain to people, what did you do? Well, we made fun of this guy and we flew a refrigerator 1,000 miles. We shipped a refrigerator 1,000 miles to make fun of the fact that this guy fucked another dude's wife. You're not, you know, if you just sit there and run it by a normal person out there, if you're in the Dabbleverse, think about trying to run this by one of your friends or coworkers. Don't do it because they're going to think you're insane. They're going to be like, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah,
Like,
one of the Dabbleverse: don't ever bring normies into this. Don't try to explain any of this.
The problem is, guess who your judge is? Your judge is a normie.
Yep.
Like that's your problem. That's your problem here.
And the whole "it's only a joke" thing. I laugh because there's a lot of these people. Gino Bisconte, who you may have heard of, he loves to.
Oh, I know. I mean, I
slurs and it's a joke. I'm using the N word and this word.
I was gonna say, speaking of Gino, like I think Gino's an okay guy, and I think Chad Zumach's an okay guy. But when Chad Zumach just started screaming the N word at Gino, that was probably like one of the funniest things I ever saw.
Yeah, that might have been the funniest thing Chad's done, and as long as I've been following him, that was quite the outburst.
I was crying when I saw that.
Another question with the Imhol and Rekieta thing. I'm sure you saw that Dr. Steve. I think you know who Dr. Steve is.
I know. I don't know who he is. I know he's part of the Dabbleverse. So.
Yeah.
And I guess
he used to be on Opie and Anthony back in the day. Like he was like,
I used to listen to Opie and Anthony a lot, like when I was in high school and stuff. I don't know if I guess I don't remember him that well, but
yeah,
you know,
but he's kind of in the Dabbleverse, so he goes to a lot of these events. He's like really in part of it. And the allegation, I guess, is that he wrote
the doctor's note for Patrick.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's a lot of problems with it. This is something that's been plaguing you for weeks, yet the night before you have to come to court, all of a sudden, poof, doctor's note. It's like, you know, it's kind of like their whole getting a continuance a week before Hackamania. It was set back in February. Why weren't you like within the sooner you get it, the better. Like you could have avoided this whole nonsense of having they think the First Amendment gun was pointed at their head on Friday when the judge made his thing, but you could have asked for it like weeks in advance, and then you could have been fighting about it. Maybe you file an appeal and say that's not permissible. I don't know. Well, appeals court might say those aren't finable, appealable orders, and actually they probably would. But you might be able to fight and negotiate and do some motion practice. But you wait till like the last possible second. And now you're like scrambling for it. And Patrick Melton wait until the last possible second. It's like, ow, my back hurts. Like, why'd you have this done before? You know, showing up the last minute, the judge thinks that's horseshit. It looks like horseshit. You know, because you weren't signing the thing, and you were, there's going to be video of out there, you sitting there having a joke and a smoke at Hackamania. Well, you were well enough to, A-log errand, so hop on a plane, buddy. And it goes from there. It's poor timing. They're not, planning this out well enough. And the Dr. Steve thing, not only is Dr. Steve like a participant in Hackamania, like I guess he's a real doctor, but all that nonsense of like when he's on, I saw the MLC was playing the clip where he's like, oh yeah, that's HIPAA. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not fucking HIPAA. That made me question whether or not he was a doctor for a minute. Like, motherfucker, you've been a doctor for like long, like HIPAA's like 30 years old now. You've been through like 30 years of HIPAA training. How the fuck do you not know that?
Yeah. How are you confusing that with this legal case?
What is HIPAA? It's like, it's privileged. Oh, okay. But more importantly, though, you can hear it in his voice where they're like, he said that? It's like, yes, there is a problem with like, I hope he's licensed in Nevada, because You're practicing medicine. You made a medical determination. Patrick Melton should not fly on an airplane. He was not going to be able to attend that hearing. If it's in my medical expert opinion, were you practicing medicine without a license in Nevada? Like, ooh, you know, imagine risking your fucking livelihood for Patrick fucking Melton. Imagine risking your livelihood to fucking own Aaron Imhol. You know, like you go to the medical board. You're like, well, sir, why did you do this? Well, Your Honor, there's this guy named Aaron Imhol, and he doesn't appreciate talk radio or comedy. And did you know he's a really bad man? So I had to help do. Is that going to be your answer? Because that's what literally Dabbleverse. No offense, that's what you guys all sound like. See, like, that's what you guys all sound like.
You Dr. Steve dabbled a little too hard on this one.
Yeah, you dabble a little too hard. I mean, in Dabbleverse, just say it with me. Nick and Aaron are both massive pieces of shit of pretty much the same quality. They won't, though, but like they're literally both turds in the same toilet. Like, you know, that they get so mad when they're like, somebody said today, like, why are you defending Aaron? I'm like, Aaron's not my friend. I'm not defending him. If I was defending Aaron, I'd be inviting, you know, I'd invite him halfway across the country to come be like the guest of honor at my event. I didn't do that. I'm clearly not defending him. Like, I don't condone what he does. He's not my friend. He'll never be my friend. I don't want to be my neighbor.
The only smart person was April, who disappeared. And
April's the smartest person in this whole thing. But yeah, but like Dr. Steve, like there's so many problems. Sorry, I was like, but sure. Dr. Steve, there's so many problems though. Like Nick's like, oh well, the attorney was gonna. You know what's gonna happen if you show an opposing party shows up with sketchy documents? You're gonna fire up your phone. Boop 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 boop. If you can't find it with a cursory Google search, that immediately really raises a bullshit flag to attorneys and courts. Why can't we find this guy right away? What is this? What's going on? You know, this is not looking good. I hope Dr. Steve, I mean, it sounds like he's a nice guy, but it's like, you know, imagine, you know, imagine risking exposing yourself to massive liability for hackamania and for Aaron Imhol, like to own Aaron Imhol. Like that's not.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I don't know what would you be thinking? What would be going through your head? The beers must have been flowing in Vegas then if you were thinking that was a good idea to.
If I had to guess, I'm assuming he wrote something for Patrick Melton and Melton misrepresented it to the court.
Oh.
Or I mean, maybe he wrote something and I don't know, maybe it got forged or something. I don't know. But when you listen to that clip, he sounds very concerned. Like he said, what? It's almost like how he responds to it. I don't, you know, I mean, you know, this is, if this is the cost of being Patrick and Moody's friend, like that ain't worth the cost, man. Like find other friends.
Yeah. And with the first one we were talking about, I understand where Carl and Shuli, like you got to defend yourself, right? I mean, they're in it. Stuttering John, I once again, I will defend him in the matter of, I do think that he is being harassed. I think that they've used his likeness for profit and maybe even have recorded things that might have been. Now, maybe he didn't go about it the right way. Maybe a cease and desist is the right way to do it. Or
I guess going back to, I mean, we can go back to this real quick.
Sure.
If they hadn't put any pictures of Stuttering John out there on any of the stuff, but they said, if you guys come, we're going to play a bunch of phone calls where he acts like a complete fucking tard. That's not really, they're not doing it for promotional purposes in the sense of like, hi, I'm Stuttering John Melendez. Come see me at DabbleCon. They're like, here's a sneak peek of John acting completely like a tard, trying to get a whiff of Kate Meany's puss. And, that's not the same as using him to promote it.
That's like parody or.
That's not even parody. It's just like, we're going to air this whole call at the thing. We're giving you a taste of it. Promoting it is like actually using it, or like if they, nowadays with the AI, they AI Stuttering John into it or something like that. That would be promotion. That's not what the way this the way this law was intended, that's not what it's meant to cover. Like promoting, like we're going to A-log this guy. Well, yeah, you're promoting your event and you're promoting the idea, like you wouldn't be able to promote it at all is not how that's meant to go. So that's why I think he's going to have problems there. With
the Aaron thing, I guess Aaron just sits tight and these guys. Oh, and I guess this goes back to what I was going to say before is I get Shuley and Carl. I get what they're doing. Yeah. John, I sort of get it, but he didn't do it maybe the right way.
Why is Steve jumping in this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Why is Steve jumping in, and why are Melton and Rekieta not doing everything that they can to mitigate the legal aspect? Like, why are they just perpetuating and making this worse than it is?
I can tell you why. Because Patrick Melton's listening because Nick has come in and Nick comes in as Aaron bad. And they go, yes, Aaron bad. You must be a good man. Smart man. They didn't watch his previous court case where he had the same attorneys and how that all turned out. But they go, yes, Aaron bad. You must be smart. And for some reason, Nick has blown a lot of smoke up Melton's ass about like, oh, we got it in the bag. I know what I'm doing. I like to think that's the case because otherwise, I don't know what Melton's placing all his faith in here other than he goes, ha, movie sucks. I'm going to win. That's a horrible fucking legal strategy because Aaron's got a good attorney. And yes, Aaron's at victory. Like, I think Aaron, the scales have tipped in Aaron's favor at this point. And Aaron's at victory formation. This is where people are like, Aaron needs to run the clock. They don't know what that means. Aaron just has to not fumble. He's going to take a couple of snaps and he's going to take some knees. But at this point, like, Nick's like, I've got a secret plan. That's not a real thing in the law. You don't have like secret, like mic drop moments. This isn't like an episode of Suits like that. It doesn't work that way. He's like, they better know the statutes. It's like, if there was some sort of statutory or procedural thing you could have won on, you'd be going for the kill shot now. You don't take the kill shot at the end of the fight. You start the gunfight with the kill shot. You don't wait till the end. So I just, there's going to be a lot of, I think at this point, as long as Aaron doesn't fuck it up, there's going to be a lot of dabblers going like, what happened? Nick said we were going to win. General Steiner's army was coming in to save the day, and General Steiner never showed up. What the hell? Like we were told that the Americans weren't in Baghdad, and holy shit, they are.
A lot of these guys just can't keep their mouth shut and let their lawyers do the work and get a good lawyer. And
that's a normal thing all over the internet, though. I don't know what Nick and Melton could do at this point because they refuse to acknowledge, like, we should just leave it alone. Like, I think if they had left it alone and they had just shut up from the start, this probably would be over by now and it would have been resolved in their favor. But the first thing Nick does as soon as the fucking HRO comes out, he's out there screaming about a bounty on Twitter. And it's like, why wouldn't you just do that privately and quietly through back channels? Then nobody would ever have known about it. And then you could have gotten all this ammunition you wanted. But instead, he's out there screaming about a bounty, which is like, I'll show you fucking harassment. And then they've had these hour-long things where they just air out Aaron's shit over and over again. No, that's not how you win you're trying to show the judge, look, judge, I'm not that asshole he's accusing me of being. Yet in the meantime, you're acting like that fucking asshole. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a fat lawyer. Nick knows better.
Nick's got it all figured out. Nick knows what he's doing.
He's got it all figured out. He apparently screaming at opposing counsel and yelling at him, and that's all perfect. And, he's gonna, not only the judge is dumb, the judge is a dummy head. My lawyers are dummy heads. Aaron lawyer's a dummy head. I'm the one who knows the real law. And he's like, I'm going to go into that hearing and I'm going to be like, Alakazam. And the judge's going to go, you're right. Nick, you win. Aaron, you have to go to jail and get raped to death for 6 months. Like, that's what they think is going to happen. And it's not going to happen now. They had their chance to win this. And I don't think they're going to get it now. I clearly think Aaron has the upper hand. Not by much. But you don't have to win by much. You just have to win.
Got a couple of more super chats. Can you stick around for 10 or 15 more minutes? Because I want to ask you about Tomlinson a little bit. I just want to get your thoughts on that. We'll just read these and then I got a couple of questions for you. Okay. William 94073-199. This clown underestimates the Duke. I think they're talking about you, Sean. Why are you underestimating the Duke? Why are you underestimating Stuttering John?
Because
Rhetorical
I'm a glutton for
question.
punishment. So
BobTube TV, Aussie $2. Can a Tennessee doctor issue a cert in Nevada for a case in Michigan?
I think he means in Minnesota.
Oh, in Minnesota. I'm sorry.
Well, no, he's practicing medicine without a license. You can't telemedicine either. Like if I'm in Ohio and I go to California and I'm talking to my doctor, technically that doctor is now practicing medicine in California if he's assessing me for things. Now, if it's already part of like ongoing treatment, okay, yeah, maybe you can get around that. Nobody will care. But just as Dr. Steve showing up from 2,000 miles away saying, yeah, he's hurt, you know, like that's practicing medicine and he doesn't have the license to do that. So, I mean, like I said, it's like I'm mad. Like,
there's a lot of questions that
yeah,
arise.
I hope this guy is not really fucking his career over for fucking Patrick Melton. Ooh.
Greasy Rumbler for $4.99. Thank you, Greasy Rumbler. Hey, Dan, did you receive the delivery of Dude Doo Dougie sent to your home? So this is what my fans like to do, Sean. They like to send stuff to my house. I will neither confirm. Let's put it this way: I will neither confirm nor deny that Dude Doo was delivered to my house.
See,
we'll leave it at that.
People just send me models to build. That's so much better.
I've been getting pizzas delivered. I had to tell the local pizza joint.
Buddy, that sounds actually not too bad. I'm not gonna lie.
Unfortunately, they were not delivering like pepperoni or pizzas that you might want to get.
Like
they were
anchovies.
Like, yeah, exactly. Shitty pizzas.
Ew.
So, yeah, don't do that. That's not cool. And if you're gonna do it, pay for it. Don't make me pay for it. You know, then the delivery guy gets screwed. Nana Feeder for $2. How actionable were Aaron's succubus comments?
I mean, I'd like to think they weren't, but you know, as Nick already pointed out, he was already, you know, whether he did it or not, he was talking about going and running, screaming and crying. And Mr. Probation Officer Elwood said something mean about my wife. Woo. Like, I just think Aaron needs to stay away from. It's going to be tough for Aaron not to make any feminine references because, you know, like I said, they're both a couple of homos. Which, so, I mean, Aaron not doing something feminine is pretty hard. But they need to stay away from that. And he should just stay away from that as best as possible.
So, hey, yeah, Sean, yeah, if you want to be a good fan of Sean, send him pizzas, but don't send him the anchovy one. Send him a pepperoni, maybe an extra cheese, sausage, all the good stuff. So Tomlinson. So I think you know that, you know, I go way back with Mr. Tomlinson. I was a reformed A-log of Mr. Tomlinson, I guess you could call me.
But it's never it never goes out of style, and you don't need to be reformed.
Patrick
needs reformed.
Have you been following his mega case against the city of Milwaukee? Are you up to speed on it?
Yeah.
Have you seen the latest developments?
All the officers getting their cases dismissed against them. Yeah. So, yeah, Patrick Tomlinson was getting swatted, you know, like a million fucking times, and he's claiming it was like toward swats on other people. Well, there's a lot of arguments that he may have been swatting himself. Who said that? Who said that?
Lucy Tightbox. Clip it for Lucy Tightbox.
Yeah.
Lucy Tightbox thinks I'm the one I was the swatter. That's the newest thing I'm hearing, that I did it. You know. Yeah,
the international hacker known as 4chan. But yeah, there's a lot of theories that he may have also been doing this himself. Patrick Tomlinson, it's like, I kind of believe that, actually. Anyway, not every time, but enough times, like the police show up and they realize, okay, this is a swatting. They knock on the door and go like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah. Or they show up and they're like, you know, they radio in like, yeah, there's no gunshots, no one's home, and they leave. There have been groups of cops, though. They show up and they hit the house like it's fucking Delta Force. And even after it's like the 30th time, the computers and big flashing things are like, whoop, whoop, you know, swatting house. Their supervisors are like, hey, man, there's a swatting. Don't go in the house. You know, this big black bull of a cop, which I'm sure really emasculated Patrick Tomlinson a lot, would be dragging him out in handcuffs. You know, they're all at gunpoint and they clear the house out and all kinds of stuff. And, you know, he sued them for Fourth Amendment violations and violations of his civil rights. And honestly, the court agreed, yes, they had violated his civil rights repeatedly. They violated his Fourth Amendment rights. These cops were acting like complete shitbags. Like, they knew it was a swatting, and they still went, like, they didn't have any right to enter the home. Now, they get to take advantage of qualified immunity. And qualified immunity is a concept the Supreme Court created, and it's been bastardized to the point of, unless there's basically a specific case that says you can't do that, and doing that specific thing is a violation of their constitutional rights, cops aren't expected to know you can't do that. So you'd say, wait, they weren't told they couldn't run into houses without a warrant? Well, in the context of swatting, no. So the qualified immunity allows cops to do what I call the John Coffey routine. They get to put up their hands and go, sorry, boss. I was just simple policeman. I didn't mean to make Mr. Tomlinson all mad. I'm sorry. And, they get, please don't hit me. And the judge looks at it and goes,
Qualified immunity.
Yeah, qualified immunity. Sorry, they violated the law, but they didn't know no better. And because of that, they weren't told they couldn't do it. So they get to escape liability. Now, the city is still on the hook because they're being sued under what's called a Manel claim, and that's a specific thing to civil rights law where they aren't training people properly. Oh, yes, Jim, yes. His homemade pepperoni, yes.
I just want to make sure, yes, Jim, you are correct. He is,
yes.
Tomlinson is alleged to have made homemade pepperoni from local African-American children. That's the internet rumor.
He's suspected. I mean, they never found the abattoir, but maybe it's hidden downstairs. But yes, there's a lot of missing black children in Milwaukee, so it makes you wonder. Get your noggin jogging.
Put 2 and 2 together on that one.
Yeah, I know. Only the finest pepperoni sticks. The last when we were covering that, I ate pepperoni at the beginning. So they basically, he's suing the city for failure to train and properly, train its cops on not being fucking idiots. That's still going forward. And that's really the one where, Patrick Tomlinson, he did, as much as you hate him, and you may not like him, I hate the police even more. And these cops who were unconstitutionally breaking into his house and the city who was just letting it happen, he might walk away with this with a lot of money. He might walk away with this with a couple.
Despite what people think about me, I think he might have done it. So if he did do it, that's one thing. But let's just say he didn't do it. He is a sympathetic character. I mean, I think it's fucking bullshit.
He's far from sympathetic. Yeah.
Having police show up and some of them were a little rowdy. Some of them came in, they kicked his door and, gave his wife shit and stuff. So, and the city should have, at some point, there has to be some oversight. I get the police have qualified immunity, but either the city or the...
Oh, I don't think qualified immunity should exist. The idea, we didn't know we couldn't fucking do this. Or, we're too... basically, like I said, they're like John Coffey. Like, they're big retards. I'm sorry, boss. I didn't know I couldn't do that. What do you mean? That? But qualified immunity has been used to excuse police shooting people and killing them. In California, these cops stole money out of a weed dispensary on camera. And they said qualified immunity, and the Ninth Circuit had to go, yeah, technically, they weren't told they couldn't do that by case law. Even though, stealing fucking money would be illegal. They're like, oh, well, they're too retarded to know. They're too retarded to know. And
it doesn't. I think of The Shield, the old TV show. They qualified immunity. We can do everything they did. They plug it off.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He sort of did at the end.
Yes. Yeah, and that's and it doesn't help that Patrick Tomlinson's not a sympathetic character. And but yes, it will be the city of Milwaukee that is cutting a check, stalker child. Probably.
So your prediction is that he will get a settlement of some kind?
Yeah.
Or do you think it'll go to trial? Do you think it'll go to
I can see the city saying it's not their money, so I could see them saying fuck it and going to trial. I mean, the biggest problem is Patrick Tomlinson, his biggest enemy is Patrick Tomlinson. So imagine him getting up on the stand and just acting like a complete faggot. And he will turn that jury against him in a heartbeat.
I have a funny story to tell you. So you may or may not know this, but I've had a few legal tussles with the city of Milwaukee, thanks to Mr. Tomlinson. Wow. And Patrick tried to get
I think you must have been the transcript somebody sent to me of Patrick.
I probably was on one of
Okay,
them.
because I that's one of the things on my list of things I need to cover one night. But
If you ever want to interview me or
Okay.
ask me questions,
Okay,
I'm
I
always
might.
make myself available. It's a
I might.
funny story. But he tried to take out a restraining order on me.
Okay, yes, I did see this then, and the name Dan, I'm remembering that now.
Yeah, that's me.
And
That's
he
me.
was
I'm the
like
restraining
freaking
order
out
guy.
at the hearing.
Yeah, he flipped out, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't get notified until like
Mhm.
after the fact. Somebody pulled it, and I tried to get the transcript and like the recording of it, and I
Mhm.
went through like all these steps to do it, and the court stenographer.
Mhm.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was on this one because it was very important to me because it was about me. So I wanted to get
Yes.
like everything I could in case something came up
Mhm.
legally going forward.
Yeah.
And this court stenographer, I started emailing back and forth via Gmail,
Mhm.
and she said, "Oh well, I don't have the recording, or I don't have it all written out, so I need to go back and listen to the recording to write it out and to do
Mhm.
this and that." And I said, "Okay, well, what's the cost for that?" And she gave me some like crazy quote, like $500 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, um, that's kind of high. Usually it only costs like $50 for like printing fees and stuff. Could you itemize that? Could you tell me, where that money goes?"
Mhm.
And she was kind of cagey about it, and she wanted like a certified check, and it just got really weird.
Well, that's because when you're asking if a transcript's already done, yeah, it's a very nominal cost. But for them, they have to type that up and take time to do it, and they want the money up front because if you don't pay them, they wasted all that time on that and they don't get paid for it. So that's where, and court reporting, you could call it a scam or whatever, but they have to listen to it, they have to type it out, then they have to proofread it. Like it takes them a while to do all that because when they listen to it and they've got their little, machine and they belt it out on their normal stenograph machine into shorthand, which they then translate into written text. It takes a while. It takes a while to do.
Well, anyway, fast forward a year later, because I actually reached, because I ended up not getting it, and because she wouldn't at some point she was using her personal email, she wouldn't respond to me, and I
Yeah.
just whatever, and I forget who I reached out to. I don't know if it was like the head of the court or something. I reached out to somebody. I just said, "Hey, I just wanted to point this out. I was trying to get this transcript. This is what I went through. Let me show you the emails."
Mhm.
And she ended up getting in a shitload of trouble. Like they pressed charges against this woman, the district
Hmm.
attorney. And I don't know if this was a little side gig that she was doing or whatever. I wasn't trying to be a rat or anything, but I just wanted my transcript. But anyway, it was funny, and I actually got a letter from the district attorney of city of Milwaukee if they wanted me to come in
Yeah.
and like testify and all this stuff. I was like, wow, I didn't even realize this was
I
that
mean, if
big
she
of a
was
deal.
doing it on the side, that's one thing because normally they just do it as part of their daily work. Like when they're not in court, they're generally working on a transcript for something. So I'm
Yeah.
surprised she was doing it on the side like that.
But
Shouldn't have been.
it's
That's
funny
weird.
they have like a law, and I don't know if it's just Milwaukee or other
Mhm.
places, but they're very strict about any sort of that kind of what they call it, some sort of malfeasance where you're using your government job to
Malfeasance in office.
profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. So
Well,
it was
yeah,
an
if she's
interesting
using her
thing.
private email, that's what that sounds like. So
Yeah,
that's
Katie stuff.
it's losing
But you do
your
think
job because of Patrick Tomlinson. Oof.
I know. Yeah, you just and I learned after that I was like, okay, I don't need to be spending any more time with Patrick. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to. And that brings us back to what we're talking about today. I don't want to be these guys and having legal issues with
Yeah.
people. It's
You don't. Yeah. There's no incentive to getting and walking into a lawsuit. There's never any reason to do that. I
yeah,
mean, especially if you like if you witness the thing, okay, maybe that makes sense. But like this Dr. Steve guy just jumping in the middle of this, like now that's going to get investigated. Maybe it's all on the up and up. But now, like, let's say, whatever happens that the state medical boards get involved and it turns out everything's okay. Do you really need them sniffing around you? No, you don't want that. I'm sure that's not a good sleep filled night when you find out that's happening, even if you know you're okay. It's not what you need. And it's like, once again, you know, doing all this for the Dabbleverse, it's like, man, like that's up there with like detonating a car bomb for a law, but there's a lot of other things I would recommend you do with your life.
Yeah, getting into legal issues over the Dabbleverse not good for long-term health. Couple final super chats. We'll just read these. MLS making
David.
law simple, $9.99. Sean needs to get on a Lego stream with Nick.
Thanks, David. No, not happening.
I own you. I think for $2.
Yeah,
I own you. I'm going to send him a deconstructed pizza to build. That's nice. If you prepay
like
it,
a Lego. Yeah,
give him like
a
the
model.
pepperoni you could put on and cheese and all the things. Put it together. And lastly, Bo Beats Black Sheep, $5 Canadian super sticker. Thank you, Bo Beats.
A lot of Canadian dollars.
Yeah, we love Canadian. Actually, we don't love it now with the conversion rate, but thank you. Sean, anything? So I know you get your show tomorrow night, Thursday night, 9:30.
Friday night we're gonna go through get caught up on Destiny's lawsuit, where he's getting sued for revenge porn. So the lots occurred, and I was trying to get caught up on it, and now we're ready to go. There's a lot there to cover. And wow, good. Yeah.
Destiny he's an interesting cat. Speaking of people that's
one way to put it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sean. This was awesome. I appreciate all your feedback. Hopefully, we'll do something again sometime, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See ya. Yep.